Welcome to the Shineforms video series. Shineforms is intelligent electrical inspection and testing software. Pirform is designed to let you collaborate and share work with other engineers. Scenarios such as sending a certificate to another engineer for review or receiving work from engineers or contractors out on site are all areas where you would use Pirform's certificate sharing features. In my copy of Pirform today, I'm going to start with two made-up EICRs, A and B. The certificate sharing functions are available in the home screen ribbon in the certificate sharing section. Export to file and import from file. Let's start by exporting a certificate to a file. Select the certificate you want in the home screen and click Export to File. This opens the Pirform export wizard, and you can see all of your certificates will be listed. The one that you have selected will be selected for you. If you want, you can use the Find box up here to find other certificates that you may wish to export, or you can change the selection by toggling here, using the Select All or Toggle Selection buttons. We're going to stick with EICRB as our selection and click Next to proceed to the next page of the wizard. Pirform's export wizard now shows you the location and name of the file to which it's going to export the certificate. You can change these here as you wish, or browse for a new location, or change the file name. At the moment, the file name includes the type of certificate as well as the certificate number and date of export. We'll see later you can adjust this in Pirform Options. There is also the option if you are exporting a large number of certificates into a file that may become large, to break that file into smaller chunks so that you can attach them to emails. However, that's an option that you will rarely use, particularly if you're only exporting a certificate at a time. Let's click Next to proceed with the export. The next stage of the Pirform export wizard shows you a summary of the actions that are about to be performed. If you wish to change anything, just click back here to return to other pages of the wizard. Let's click Export Certificates. Pirform exports the certificate and then asks you if you wish to open the folder after closing the wizard. We'll do that. You can see, as expected, Pirform has opened up Windows Explorer and has the export file that we've just created selected for us. You can just go ahead and then attach that to an email and send it back to the office or your main contractor or whoever you want to send the certificate to. There are two ways that Pirform lets you export a certificate. The first one we've just seen is manually, and you can do that at any time you wish by clicking Export to File from the home screen ribbon. The second way is automatically. So when you have made changes to a certificate and you save it and close it, Pirform, as you can see in the bottom left, automatically exports that certificate as an export file and also generates the PDF for you. You can access those automatically generated PDFs and export files at any time from the home screen ribbon by clicking on Show Export File, which will open up the most recently automatically exported file for you. Or you can click on Show PDF Report, which will open up Windows Explorer and show you the most recently automatically generated PDF. You can go ahead and double click this, and you can see the PDF is here. It's worth noting also that where relevant, Pirform automatically generates the circuit chart for you as part of that automatic export. It may be, as you click through the home screen ribbon and select certificates, that one of these buttons is not available. You can see here the Show PDF Report is grayed out and I can't click it. The reason for this is the PDF report does not exist on file, so Pirform can't open Windows Explorer and show you that file. If that's the case, you can just click Refresh Exports here at any time and Pirform will regenerate those. And the PDF has been created for you on disk along with the circuit chart. Let's move on now to how you would import certificates into your copy of Pirform. As you might expect, you do that by clicking Import from File in the home screen ribbon. This opens up the Pirform import wizard that walks you through the process. Pirform lets you import certificates from either a single export file, or there is an option to import from all export files in a folder. We'll look at the folder option in a second. First, let's import from a file. Clicking Browse, Pirform opens up a dialog that lets you select the file that you want to import from. This will open up at the location from where you last imported a file. Here you can see I have two files, EICRs, Jane 001 and 002. Let's choose Jane 001. Clicking OK, Pirform's import wizard opens that file and then shows us the certificates that are in that file. Here there is only one of them, and that is selected. If that isn't the file that I want, I can click back to return and select another file. If there are more than one certificate in that file, I again have the search function up here that I can use to find the particular certificate that I want to import, and there's the buttons down here to toggle the selections. You can also see that as I select a certificate here, Pirform gives us a summary of the certificate and tells us if there are any conflicts. We'll see that in a second. When we're importing from a single file, it will also give you the version that that file was exported from. Click Next, and the import wizard will move on to give us a summary of the changes that it's about to make. We review those changes and then click Import Certificates to bring that certificate into our copy of Pirform. Click Close, and you can see here that Jane's EICR has been imported into my copy of Pirform, and I can just go ahead and do what I wish to do with that certificate. We saw in the import wizard it told us there were no conflicts. Let's go through that process again. Let's say that Jane has sent us some updates. We've saved that export file to the same location, and we can ask Pirform to import it again for us. You can see right at this stage it's telling us that there is a conflict and that this certificate already exists, and that importing will overwrite the existing certificate. It also tells us that if we want to keep that existing certificate, export it first and save that file somewhere. All of the details in the certificate at any point in time can be saved to an export file. Clicking Next here, when we get the summary, we can see that we can't click on Import Certificate straight away. Because there's a conflict, we have to confirm that we wish to proceed before we import. Pirform then goes ahead and re-imports that certificate and will overwrite the first initial certificate. Let's take a look now at the option to import from a folder. Click on Import from File to open the import wizard. Tick the option to import from a folder. You can see that when I do that, options appear to let me filter the files that I want. This is useful if you receive files from other engineers into the same folder on your network, in your Dropbox or Google Drive, or in your Downloads folder that you save from emails. This gives you the option to filter out so that you only import from files changed today or this week, or from some custom date that you wish to import from. Today we're going to import all files and leave that, which is the default selection. Clicking on Browse, you'll see that Pirform gives us a dialog to select the folder we wish to import from. Clicking on that, Pirform moves on to the next stage in the import wizard. Pirform has looked through all of the files in that folder that we selected. Pirform has looked for all the export files that are in the folder that we selected, and also in any subfolders. It's opened those up, and it's now presenting to us the certificates that it has found. Again, we can choose to select one or more of them before we proceed. A summary is shown for the selected one below as before, and there's a conflict here because at least one of them already exists. It's Jane's EICR. You can see that it shows you in the import actions here that it will overwrite the existing certificate for Jane 001. Jane 002 will create a new certificate. Let's click Next to proceed, and it's very similar to before, except the summary shows us more than one certificate being imported. Because we're overwriting, we have to confirm before we can proceed, and then we click Import Certificates, and Pirform just imports those certificates. And now you can see I have Jane's 001 and 002 certificates in my copy of Pirform. Lastly, let's take a look at some of the options in Pirform that control where you export certificates to. We saw earlier on that as you move through the home screen, there are these options here to show the report as a PDF, as the export file, or to refresh it. At the other end of the ribbon here, in the data folders, you can just go to your auto export files or PDF folders at any time. If I open these up, you can see inside here there's a folder for EICRs that contains the automatically exported certificates from my copy of Pirform. I can also go to my certificate sharing folder, which is where the manually exported files will appear. If I go to Pirform Options, which I can do by clicking File, Pirform Options, there's also a shortcut by clicking down here. Inside of Pirform's Options, you can see that there is a saving and backup section. In this you can see, as well as the backup location, there's also the certificate sharing location for manual exports. There are options in here that control automatically saving, but also my auto backup and auto export options. So I can just choose to configure these individually as to where they go, or I can use this button up here to automatically set these to use the Dropbox folder that's on my machine. Pirform is going to restart after that, but you can see this has been set up for me here to point to Dropbox. Pirform's option to use Dropbox here is built in, but you could also browse and select a location in your Google Drive or OneDrive folders as well. These are really good options when working with colleagues and your IT haven't set you up with a shared network folder, because Dropbox will just synchronize the automatically exported certificates and PDFs, as well as your backups, between the computers that you and your colleagues use. When Pirform creates that folder for us, this name derives from a combination of the name of my license, the name of the user, and the name of the machine. This will ensure that there are no overwrites happening with the synchronization. Dropbox will keep everything that I produce on this machine in those folders, and my colleagues will have those on their machine as well. The last option to note here is in the general section at the bottom is whether to include the certificate type in the file name. You can adjust this to control whether the certificate type, such as minor works, electrical installation, etc., appears in the name of the export file, or whether Pirform just uses the certificate number. If you go to our website, into our documentation section by clicking Docs at the top there, go into the Pirform, you will find the section on certificate sharing here, which contains everything that we've talked about in this video today. For more information, visit our website at www.shineforms.co.uk or follow us on Twitter at shineforms. Thank you for watching.